This month we're going to talk about slips, trips, and falls. Slips, trips, and falls are the #1 cause of occupational injuries. If you take caution and learn how to recognize potential hazardous situations, that makes it easier to prevent slips, trips, and falls. Accidents involving slips, trips, and falls happen every day. They can cause injuries, pain, and days away from work. But many accidents can be avoided. Knowing the factors involved in slips, trips, and falls can help prevent them. So there are 3 physical factors involved in slips, trips, and falls, and those are friction, momentum, and gravity. Friction is the resistance between 2 things. There's friction between your shoes and the ground when you walk, and without enough friction, you can slip and fall. But with enough friction, you're going to be able to move safely and stay balanced. Momentum is the combination of weight and speed. The more momentum you have, the more serious an injury could be if you trip and fall. The less momentum you have, the less likely you will hurt yourself if you do fall. And gravity is a pulling force. When you fall or when something falls on you, gravity is the force that pulls you or that object to the ground. Without gravity, objects would float instead of fall. So when your center of gravity is not supported, that's when you have the least balance, and that's going to make it more easily for you to fall. Here's a short video talking about slips, trips, and falls.
In safety, we get to deal with some really cool stuff, like explosion, demolition, and health hazards that are smaller than a speck of dust. In fact, it's one of the great secrets that safety professionals tend to keep to ourselves. Our job is awesome.
What?
I'm Rachel Walla with Ally Safety, and today we aren't talking about any of that exciting stuff. We are talking about the elephant in the room that contributes to more workplace injuries than almost any other problem. Slips, trips, and falls. In fact, slips, trips, and falls are the 2nd most common cause of workplace injuries in the United States. Don't laugh, this is serious. Out of all the hazards out there in the world today, gravity is one of the most depressing because it's always bringing people down. So, without further ado, let me drop you some facts about gravity. Falls in the United States account for about 8.9 million emergency room visits each year. They also are one of the least interesting injuries to tell your friends about because there's rarely any glory in them. So what is causing all the slips, trips, and falls? Contrary to popular belief, not all slips, trips, and falls are caused by discarded banana peels. These injuries can actually be attributed to 3 simple factors: friction, momentum, and gravity. Today, we're going to break down each of these factors to make them super simple. Slips are caused by a loss of friction. Friction is the resistance between objects. That loss of traction is actually the leading cause of workplace slips. Think of things like wet surfaces, spills, ice, and snow. Slips are also more likely to occur when we rush, aren't paying attention, or are wearing the wrong type of shoes. Trips happen when you are moving with enough momentum to be thrown off balance by a sudden change in speed or direction. Falls are caused by gravity's pull whenever we move too far off our center of balance. So now you know the cause of slips, trips, and falls. Let's focus on some prevention. Clean up wet spots and spills as soon as possible. Wear shoes with good traction, take short steps on slippery surfaces, and pay attention to the floor conditions. Prevent trips by making sure you can see where you're walking. If you're carrying a load and you can't see over it, clear the path before you start. To prevent falls, don't jump off stuff. Use the stairs, use handrails, and prevent slips and trips. Save yourself a lot of pain, recovery time, and hurt pride by giving this topic the attention it deserves. Don't fall for complacency. Thanks for watching, and until the next time, I'll see you guys later. The other day, my friend told me this really bad gravity joke, but I still fell for it. I hate gravity puns. They always let me down. Every time I try to cut out the puns, I slip up, I trip over my words, and then I fall right back into it again. Safety, we get to deal with.
Okay, slips occur when there is too little traction or friction between your shoes and a walking surface. Loss of traction is the leading cause of workplace slips. Slips can be caused by wet surfaces, spills, or weather hazards like ice, snow, and rain. Slips are more likely to occur when you're in a hurry, or you're running, or wear the wrong kind of shoes, or you do not pay attention to where you're walking. You can prevent slips by practicing safe walking skills. Take short steps on slippery surfaces to keep your center of balance under you and point your feet slightly outward. And be extra cautious on a smooth surface. And you want to clean up or report spills and debris quickly. That way someone else doesn't fall over them. And you want to mark spills or wet areas with a warning sign. That way that if someone's walking through there, they know that they need to be extra cautious. Trips occur whenever your foot hits an object or drops to a lower level unexpectedly and you're moving with enough momentum to throw you off balance. Trips are more likely to happen when you're in a hurry or do not pay attention to where you're going. You can prevent trips by making sure you can see where you're walking. And you need to don't carry a load that you can't see over. Secure mats, rugs, and carpets that don't lay flat. And store materials and supplies in an appropriate storage area. You don't want to put them in your walkway so that someone can trip over them. Corded equipment should be placed where they do not obstruct aisles or walkways. Keep your area clean and orderly, and properly maintain walking areas. Falls occur whenever you move too far off your center of balance. Falls can occur at the same level or to a lower level. And falls account for more workplace fatalities than any other reason. And a high percentage of those workplace fatalities from a fall is where you're falling from a higher level, so to the ground. You can help prevent falls by following these precautions. Keep your attention on steps and avoid distractions like eating, drinking, or reading a handheld device while you're trying to go up or down steps. Repair or replace stairs or handrails that are loose or broken. Don't jump off an elevated surface. And wear shoes with appropriate non-slip soles. And you should avoid a cell phone usage while you're walking. And I want to talk a little more about that. You can compare walking with if you're watching a video or texting and you're not paying attention to anything but that phone, you could compare that to being blindfolded and walking around because you're not being able to see what's around you and what's going on around you. And you wouldn't want to do that while you're at work. You want to be blindfolded walking around. And your work areas and the things that are going on in your work areas are constantly changing. So if you're not paying attention, that's a big hazard. And these pictures kind of go along with that. They're on their phone and not paying attention. So this girl runs into a pole, and this guy falls in a hole, and this girl is about to fall into a hole. So here are 5 reasons to stop looking at your phone while you're walking. Number 1, injuring someone by walking into them or opening a door into them. Number 2, being struck by a moving vehicle or equipment. And number 3, not being aware of your surroundings, like people, objects, and obstacles. In some of the areas that you may work in, you want to make sure you're aware of your surroundings. It may not be the best areas. And number 4, you could walk over an edge or into an open hole. This could also be stairs. You could fall, trip over stairs going up or down them. And number 5, you could walk into a wall or shelf, causing objects to fall on you or others. And this could be more than just a wall or a shelf that you walked into. I'll give an example of in the lab building. If you walk through the lab and you're looking at your phone and not paying attention to what's going on around you, we have a lot of glassware. We have carts that may be waiting, full of glassware waiting to get washed, or someone coming out of one of the side rooms where we're running tests. They may have glassware in their hands or chemicals in their hands, and if you're not paying attention and walk through there, you could run into them, and that could be very bad. That could cause a lot of injuries. So if you have any questions or comments, you can stop by the lab building and talk to me, or you can call extension 104.